All right, we're back with Mina Kime. Sean, I forgot to tell you this. If you can find the tweet where Mina talks about parity and dominance, you can pull it up. I just want people to understand how we got here. And I wouldn't like challenging Mina to defend herself. It just so worked out that we had an opening for a guest, and I wholeheartedly disagree with her. Shout out to my man Rod, who points out that you used the meme correctly in doing this. Sean, you got it? Do you let me know you got it? But is the dude standing up giving the contrary opinion? And Mina says parity is better than dominance in sports. And so I would like to, rather than to challenge you, I'd like to hear more about your thoughts.
I feel like, I said it's an unpopular opinion. I feel like this should be the mainstream opinion. Why would you want to watch blowouts? Why would you want to watch, especially in football, which is what this was stemming from? I don't want to watch someone beat down another team and it's boring and I have to change the channel at halftime. I want to watch a close game. You
don't have to change the channel. That's the best part. You don't like dominance. I love just a flat out dominant juggernaut. You cannot appreciate the juggernaut.
In football? Okay, so
yes.
I don't like it in any sport now that I think about it, but we're talking about football.
Ooh, I love it in basketball.
Okay, your Lions. Let's talk about it. So the Titans, right, was the one where Jared Goff threw for 20 yards in the first quarter and they were still up 42 or something like that.
It was beautiful.
So you enjoy that more than like a close fought battle between Detroit and the Rams in the beginning of the year, for example.
You got to understand, I'm the godfather of beat 'em down. That's the house I grew up in. My daddy, I like a blowout. What I like watching is excellence firing on all cylinders, right? I don't need it to be like it's three juggernauts and everybody else stinks. But when there's a team like one that's legit capable of going like 15-1, well, I guess 16-1 now, or having that level of just like, it is like Barry Bonds. That's a great example. Like a football team that gives you what Barry Bonds gives you. I love watching that higher level of performance. It's why I can find like high school sports to be compelling in the presence of a dominant player that's going to be a pro later. There's something about watching somebody that's just better than everybody else is. That's exhilarating.
I don't want to psychoanalyze here, but I'm going to do it. That feels like a very I don't know, not selfish, but like individualistic worldview where you love like great performances by individual. And obviously football is a team sport, so you're talking about a team dominating. But
yes,
do you not enjoy having your emotions pulled and the highs and the lows?
Yes.
Like, wouldn't you rather watch your Lions team barely beat someone and it comes down to the last second and it's 4th and 10 and Amon-Ra St. Brown breaks a tackle and they barely win? Like, isn't that better than watching, the Lions win 31-6 or whatever?
Oh, I want that in context. I want that every now and then. It was exhilarating that it went that way against the Texans the other night, for example, right? But what I want to make that exhilarating is knowing that they be tapping that ass when they play everybody else. And so you had your chance to get up there with the juggernaut. Like, you can't have an upset if everybody just the same kind of good as everybody else, right? When the Lions were down there against the Cowboys and they tried to throw a hook and ladder to number 58.
Yeah, that's extreme.
You can't tell me that wasn't great. You didn't love that?
When there's dominance in sports are easier to understand for us, right? Like, it's easier because like we're in the business of trying to explain what we're seeing, predict what we're seeing, not talking about picks, but rather just be like, yeah, I know this team is good. I know this team should beat this team. And then when it happens, there's like a sense of, okay, the world makes sense, right? So sports are harder to talk about when there's no dominance because it's confusing, right? Like when all the NFL teams are equal and it's not really clear who's going to win the Super Bowl or whatever, it actually makes it a little bit harder to unpack and discuss because anything could happen.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But I think so in the presence of dominance, people find their ways to beat those teams, right? Tom Coughlin somehow found a way to beat one undefeated Patriots team and another one that was very, very good, right? So like when you have that juggernaut, the other squad got to go gorilla with a U. You know what I'm saying? They got to figure out how to pop up out the ground and make things happen. That's the kind of stuff that's interesting to me. To me, the only way to have widespread parity is to have widespread mediocrity. And so it almost feels random who wins and who does not win. I like the idea. So the one time that we as a world did not love the dominance, the one time that we did not love the juggernaut, not that we love the juggernaut itself, but we kind of love the experience of the presence of the juggernaut, is when Kevin Durant went to the Warriors. And the reason was y'all were already the juggernaut, but you didn't win in the finals, right? The most dominant NBA team that we had ever seen. Somebody could still get them, but then they went and got Kevin Durant, and it's like, damn, can't nobody get y'all, right? That act that
How
went
did you feel
a
about that at
little.
the time? Okay, too far.
No, I thought it was very interesting, and I very much so defended Kevin Durant for going to the best team that was available, which is what most people did. And I also tried to talk myself into believing that somebody could actually beat them. And those lies made it okay. But I understand better now why people were like, okay, well, basketball is over. Like, what are we even doing here? But to have like the suspense that you talk about, I think you need to have the stakes and you need to have the expectations. And what makes the winning feel good is having the presence of somebody that ain't all the way there, and then they can get there and make it happen. Like, to me, the NBA has to have a dominant team. And I think one of the reasons that it hasn't been great these last few years as a fan experience is the absence of the juggernaut.
I agree with that. And I think it's definitely the difference between the two sports, right? Because in the NFL, there's this inbuilt expectation that anything can happen any given Sunday, so to speak, right? Whereas I think with the NBA, it doesn't feel possible. And if it is possible, something's gone wrong, I think, when you look at some of these matchups. I do think, though, with the NFL right now, there's something interesting happening, which is a big part of the reason why there is this parity or perception of parity, and that there aren't really dominant teams. Even the Chiefs team, undefeated, most people think, they just won with a blocked field goal, is that there aren't many super balanced teams. I think of a team like the Ravens that have like an unbelievably dominant offense and then a struggling pass defense. But does that bother you? Because so we would look at the Ravens and they're not dominant, but they're dominant on one side of the ball.
Yeah. I do. I love how good their offense is, right?
Yeah.
And I do think it becomes interesting having them with the defense. I don't want their defense to be that bad, though. They got mossed by Bo Nix. Hey, the NBA is officially back, which means you can turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite teams only on PrizePicks. You can make a PrizePicks lineup between the NFL and the NBA in as little as 60 seconds. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make PrizePicks the #1 fantasy sports app. So you make sure to go to prizepicks.com/Bomani and use code Bomani for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/Bomani. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy.